Special thanks to Patreon supporter Moss for making this tutorial possible. Hello ladies and gentlemen, ZPro here bringing you another Minecraft Cold War aircraft tutorial. In this tutorial we'll be going ahead and building the North American F-86 Sabre. The North American F-86 Sabre, sometimes called the Sabre jet, is a transonic jet fighter aircraft produced by North American Aviation. The Sabre is best known as the United States' first swept-wing fighter that could counter the swept-wing MiG-15 in high-speed dogfights in the skies of the Korean War. Finding some of the earliest jet-to-jet battles in history, considered one of the best and most important fighter aircraft in that war, the F-86 is also rated highly in comparison with fighters of other eras. Although it was developed in the late 1940s and was outdated by the end of the 1950s, the Sabre proved versatile and adaptable, and continued as a frontline fighter in numerous air forces. Its success led to an extended production run of more than 7,800 aircraft between 1949 and 1956 in the United States, Japan, and Italy. In addition, 738 carrier-modified versions were purchased by the U.S. Navy as FJ2s and 3s. Variants were built in Canada and Australia. The Canadair Sabre added another 1,815 aircraft, and the significant redesigned CAC Sabre, sometimes known as the Avion or CAC CA-27, had a production run of 112. The Sabre is by far the most produced Western jet fighter, with a total production of all variants at 9,860 units. So yeah, the F-86 Sabre here, a very iconic Cold War aircraft. It was one of the first real jet fighters in the United States, and really the first one to see a lot of air-to-air combat in the new jet age, especially during the Korean War. It was retired from the U.S. Air Force in 1965, but did see continued service from other nations well into the 1900s. But yeah, really cool looking aircraft, and I would say a total Cold War looking aircraft. That really nice kind of chrome, I guess stainless steel type of look, just that shiny look to it, which I think just looks absolutely amazing on those kind of Cold War aircraft, and just the little yellow accents that are very common on it. Just overall a gorgeous aircraft. What more is there really else to say about it? And really happy to put a redesign out there for you guys to finally all enjoy. Before we go and dive in and take a look at this aircraft, I do want to go ahead and give special thanks to Patreon supporter Boss for making this tutorial possible. If you guys are interested in supporting the channel more you already do, feel free to check my Patreon page. Link is always in my video descriptions, where you can pledge a small amount to the channel every month, and in doing so earn a viewer request you're choosing. It really helps support the work I do on my channel and is really greatly appreciated. So again, definitely feel free to check that out. Again, link will be in the video description. Anyways, let's go ahead and jump in here to take a look at the North American F-86 Sabre. So this here is done up in the U.S. Air Force configuration, or I guess color scheme, with the yellow that seemed to be accented on most of the Sabres, or just really I would say the iconic look for it. So it's got that shiny kind of chrome looking like finish, and then we have the yellow kind of stripes in the wings, the yellow stripe on the fuselage, and also the vertical stabilizer. So really nice touches there with those, and I think it makes the aircraft look really nice. We have the front up here, the intake there for the jet, a little black tip there to the nose, and we have the cockpit here. The guns were also located on the sides here of the aircraft, so kind of try to do the little holes there for the guns, which would obviously shoot forward, but try to kind of show there's a little bit of the dispensers there. Works a little bit, it's not the greatest, but really there isn't too much you can really do for what we're trying to show there. We have the National Star insignia on the fuselage there, pretty standard, nice design that we've been using. And obviously the tail here with the vertical stabilizers and horizontal, and then we have the back jet engine there. So overall, really nice aircraft. This is the landed version, so we will have both a landed and in-flight version. This right here is the in-flight version, and then obviously the landed version down below us that we just saw. So you will have a, availability to both, so you can go ahead and display these and put them in their world however you choose. Anyways though, that's it for this overview. Let's go and move into the tutorial by beginning with our first layer. Alright guys, so moving into our first layer, we're going ahead and starting off with layer number 1. Now a few things I do want to mention here is if you're completely new to my aircraft tutorials, the first thing I like to do is I like to do these tutorials half on, half off. What this means is we're building the entire center line of the aircraft, and then we'll be building the entire right side. It'll be up to you guys in between layers to take the right side copied over to the left side. This aircraft is completely symmetrical except for one minor, very minor little thing, and we'll talk about that a little bit once we get to that in this layer. Other than that, though, everything you see done on the right side will be done on the left side, and you'll just copy it over in between layers, and it's pretty straightforward overall. In addition, if you do want to build the landed version, we will be building the aircraft in the in-flight configuration and then adding the landing gear on at the end as a modification. So what you'll need to do is you'll need to make sure that if you want to build this landed, that you build this exactly 3 blocks up from the ground level. You can see we have 2 full blocks of space. In our third block up from the ground level, we have basically layer 2 starting. Very important that you make sure that is correct, because obviously if you're a block too low or too high, it's not going to sit properly for the build. And lastly, we will be beginning with layer 2. Layer 1 is just basically a bunch of trapdoors on the bottom of the aircraft, so it's a little bit easier to start with this layer. Anyways, let's get started. First thing we're doing is we're going to place down an iron trapdoor. That's going to be, first thing, probably best thing to do would be to start off by placing down a polished andesite block. Going forward from this block, if we're on Java, we're going to place down 2 pistons. If you're not on Java, then we'll be going ahead and placing down, I would recommend a polished andesite full block and then an air top slab right there. So again, 2 pistons for Java, polished andesite block, polished andesite top slab if you're not on Java. After that, we're going to go then place down a polished andesite top slab, going toward the front, and then an iron trapdoor like so. After that, going back from this polished andesite block here, we're going to go ahead and place down an additional 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 going back. Then 2 yellow concrete blocks. Again, we have 2 pistons here. If you're on a different version, a polished andesite block and a polished andesite top slab will suffice. We're going to then place down 2 polished andesite top slabs and 2 iron trapdoors to the back there. After that's done, going to the sides here of the pistons, we're going to place down 2 skeleton skulls. Then back from that, we're going to place down 2 andesite walls, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 polished andesite blocks, 1, 2 sandstone walls, 1, 2 skeleton skulls, like that along the side. We're going to go then grab a daylight detector, and on our first polished andesite block, we're going to place down a daylight detector. We're going to turn that to night mode, and we then want to place down 2 polished andesite slabs back, a daylight detector, again turn that to night mode, and then after that, 2 more iron trapdoors. So 1, 2. After that, we want to go and then place down a polished andesite, daylight detector here, turn that to night mode. We're going to go back from it with a polished andesite slab, then a second slab, a daylight detector, turn that to night mode, and then 2 more iron trapdoors back. Or actually, sorry, just 1 iron trapdoor back like so. Next row is going to be the same thing. Daylight detector, turn that to the night mode, 2 polished andesite slabs, daylight detector, turn to night mode, and then an iron trapdoor. Next row here is going to be a daylight detector, turn to night mode, a polished andesite slab, 2 daylight detectors, turn to night mode, and then a iron trapdoor there on the end. After that, actually, sorry, it's going to be moved back 1, so we're actually going to have an indent. So daylight detectors going to be here, polished andesite slab, then our 2 daylight detectors turn to night mode, and then an iron trapdoor. So it should look like that, so it's going to make that adjustment there. Then we're going to place down a daylight detector here, come off this one, turn it to night mode, polished andesite slab, followed by a second slab, daylight detector, again, night mode, and then an iron trapdoor after that. Then once we get to this point here, it's going to be a daylight detector come off this polished andesite slab, turn to night mode, polished andesite slab, daylight detector, turn to night mode, and then an iron trapdoor after that. Next row is going to be 3 daylight detectors, 1, 2, 3, all turn to night mode, and then a iron trapdoor coming out this last one here. We then want to place down 2 daylight detectors, so right here 1, 2, we're going to leave those on the day mode, and we're going to go and then grab ourselves some birchwood trapdoors. We're going to place down a birchwood trapdoor right here, going back, make sure it's closed, and then a second birchwood trapdoor after that. Next row here is going to be a row of 3 of daylight detectors, so 1, 2, 3. Again, keep them on the day mode, and then a birchwood trapdoor closed there on the end. Next row is going to be 1 and 2 daylight detectors, then a birchwood trapdoor. Again, this one will stay closed. And then on the very outside here, we're going to place down an iron trapdoor, a daylight detector, turn to night mode, and then we're going to place down a block underneath this corner right here, like so, and then on the top of that block, we're going to place down a skeleton skull at about a 45 angle there to help kind of shape the edge of our wings there. Now, after we have that done, we do have that one difference that we're going to talk about. So at this point, both sides will basically be the same. You'll take the right side, copy it over to the left side, and this way you should have your wings going all the way across. However, over here on the left side of the aircraft, or sorry, the right side, I should say, we're going to go off this skeleton skull with 1, 2, and 3, and rods like that going forward, and that right there will basically form this little pole that sticks off the basically right side of the wing. Anyways, though, once you have that done, this is what it should look like from up above. Once you take the right side and copy it over to the left side, minus that little pole there. And with that, that'll conclude what we have there for this layer. Let's move on to our next layer, layer number 1. Alright guys, moving into our next layer, we have layer number 1. For layer 1, we're going to go ahead and go to the bottom here of the aircraft. We're going to start off by going ahead and going to our third polished andesite block from the front here. So we have this right here, it's either the piston or the polished andesite block. Then we have 1, 2 blocks, and then this third one right here, we're going to place down a lever, flick downwards, and we're going to place down an end rod coming off it going back. We're going to go then place down 1, 2, 3 iron trapdoors, and then a birchwood trapdoor on the end there. Going to the sides here, we're going to place down 1, 2, 3, 4 iron trapdoors, and then a birchwood trapdoor on the back there. Taking our iron trapdoors again, we're going to go off this 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 iron trapdoors back. Next row after that row of 5 is going to be a row of 4, and then a second row of 4 after that. So we're going to go indent from the front 1, 2, 3, 4, and again coming off that row 1, 2, 3, 4. And at this point, we're just going to go ahead and place down a row of 1, 2, and 3. And that right there should be about it. Actually, it's just going to be 1, 2 in the center. So we're going to delete the 1 on the end here. And it's just going to be 1, 2 come off the center of that row of 4 there. And once you have that all done right there, that's going to basically conclude layer 1 there. Pretty simple stuff, just kind of adding on to the bottom there of the aircraft. And that right there is going to conclude that. Let's move up to layer number 3. Alright guys, moving into our next layer, we have layer number 3. For layer 3 to begin with, we're going to be going ahead and going to this first piston here, or the second polished andesite top side, whichever you placed, and we're going to place down a black concrete block on top of that. We're going to go then take our polished andesite, and we're going to place down a row of polished andesite. That's going to go all the way down the length of our aircraft, a total of 16, and then we're just going to place down a block or nether around the back here. We're going to place down a item frame on the end, and in the item frame you can place down orange stained glass, or you can place down black stained glass. Either one will work here. It basically depends on what you want. If you want the engine turned off, black stained glass will work. If you want the engine on, or to appear that it's on, orange stained glass will be a good option. So kind of an all, you can kind of pick and choose what you're doing there, whether the aircraft is parked or what. After that though, we're going to go then place down a light gray stainless pane that's going to come off this iron trapdoor here at an angle. And then going back from it, we're going to place down an andesite wall and then a stone brick wall. We then want to place down a dispenser, like so, to the side. And we're going to then place down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 polished andesite blocks back, 2 yellow concrete blocks, a sandstone wall, 2 andesite walls, 2 light gray stained glass panes, and 2 black stained glass panes, followed by a wither skeleton skull there on the very end. And once you have that all done, that's pretty much it for the structure there for the layer. Pretty simple stuff. At this point in time, if we're on Java, we're going to use the /give space @p Minecraft :debug _stick. Using this command and pressing enter will give us this glowing stick. By taking this glowing stick and going to our pistons here on the bottom from the previous layer, layer 2, we're going to go ahead and basically right click and it will get rid of that wooden portion of the piston, which helps us with the shaping here of the aircraft. So we'll just be doing that for the front and back there of the aircraft. In addition to that, you can also go to these glass panes in the front here, and by left clicking them until you get the direction of the pane that would face toward the front there, and it may take some playing around with it because your directions may be a little bit different than mine. We're going to go ahead and extend the one side of the glass pane by right clicking after we find our direction that's going to work, and by right clicking that and going forward, it will extend the glass panes like that and kind of help shape the front there a little bit better. Again, something that isn't completely necessary, but something I like to do there just to kind of help sprucing up the front there and make it look a little bit more well connected. And using that debug stick is a really good tool to do that. Anyways though, that right there is going to conclude everything we have there for layer 3, and with that, let's move on to layer number 4. Moving into our next layer, where we go ahead and move into layer number 4. For layer 4 to get started with here, we're going to go and go above this space here, above the iron trapdoor, have a space of 1. Basically, between that, we're going to place an unpolished andesite slab and then a wither skeleton skull coming off that slab, like that going forward. We're going to go then place down a piston. After that piston, we're going to go and place down a polished andesite block. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 black concrete if you want to close the cockpit off. If you do want to do an interior for the cockpit, you can leave this row of 5 open. However, for us, we're going to go and fill this in because we're not going to have a interior for it. So we'll just fill this in with a row of 5. We're going to go then place down a polished andesite block, 3 yellow concrete blocks back, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 polished andesite blocks back, and then an andesite wall there on the end. Again, going up to the front, we're going to start working our way out to the sides. Now we're going to place down a skeleton skull at a slight angle on top of this glass pane, and then a skeleton skull on top of that wall. After that, we're going to then place down a light gray stainless pane here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 andesite walls back, 1, 2, 3 sandstone walls, 1, 2 andesite walls, and 1, 2, 3 light gray stainless panes. We then want to place down 1, 2, 3 polished andesite slabs, going off the middle one, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to go up to 2 polished andesite top slabs, then another 2 like this going back at an angle, and then an iron trapdoor here on the side there of that last one. So just like that there for our horizontal stabilizers. At this point, we then want to go ahead and go back up to the front using a debug stick. For us Java players, we're going to go ahead and right click that piston and do that technique there in the front. And then basically what's left for us to do for this layer is going to be these banners. So I'm going to go and grab the necessary materials to make those banners, and I'll be back here shortly to show you guys the process to make the National Star Insignia banners. Alright guys, so when it comes to making that National Star Insignia symbol, we're going to go ahead and need a loom, 2 white banners, 1 red die, 2 light gray die, 2 white die, 4 blue die, and a banner pattern that is going to be the flower charge. Once you have those materials, we can make these banners. We're going to start off by going into our loom. We're going to place down our white banner first and our red die. We're going to go ahead and do the line horizontally through the center with our red die, and then go ahead and again take our light gray die. We're going to go and do the line across the top and line across the bottom to go ahead and form this stripe looking like banner. After that, we're going to place down our white banner into our loom for the star, and then our blue die. We're going to do the line horizontally through the center with our blue die. We're going to go ahead and grab this banner, place it back into the loom. This time we're going to place down our white die and our banner pattern, and we're going to go ahead and get a symbol that looks like this. We'll grab that banner, take our white die and the banner pattern out. We're going to place our blue die back into the banner, or into the loom. We're going to place down a blue line that goes across the top there, and then we're going to go ahead and take our white die and do a diamond in the center like so. We're going to go and then place down our blue die in the die section, and then a triangle from the bottom here, and then we're going to do the lower third blue horizontal line across the bottom, and that's going to create our star here. After we have that done, we want to go and go to the side here of this last end of the side wall. We're going to place down the striped banner like so, then the star banner, and then the striped banner after that, and that'll be done on both sides there to go ahead and create that National Star Insignia. After we have that all done right there, that is going to do everything we have there for layer number 4 for the build. And with that, we'll be going ahead and moving on to layer number 5. Moving into our next layer, we have layer number 5. For layer 5 to go ahead and get started with here, we're going to place down a nether brick slab on top of this first black concrete block. So this section here, we're going to go ahead and then place down an item frame coming off of it, a black bed in the item frame facing vertically, and if you're on Java, we'll place a dark oak wood sign over the side of the slab as well. The addition of the dark oak wood sign and item frame will be only available on Java. If you're on a different version of Minecraft, you will not be able to place these two in the same block space. Anyways though, after we have that done, we're going to go and then go back from the nether brick slab, a total of 4 black stained glass blocks back, and then a polished andesite slab there on the rear. We're going to go and then skip 2 spaces on our third yellow concrete block. We're going to place down a lever with a end rod coming off it toward the back. Then we're going to go and skip a space, place down an iron trapdoor, a daylight detector turned to night mode, a polished andesite slab, 2 coal ore blocks, and then a polished andesite block there on the end. On the side of the coal ore blocks, we're going to place down 2 polished blackstone buttons and also an iron trapdoor on the iron trapdoor here on the end of the horizontal stabilizers. Going back up to the front, we're going to place down a wither skeleton skull coming off the side of this nether brick slab, then a light gray stained glass pane, and then 2 black stained glass panes, and another light gray stained glass pane directly after that. And then we're going to go ahead and take our skeleton skull, we're going to place it down at a slight angle like that, going back. After we have that all done right there, that is going to conclude everything we have there for layer number 5, and with that we'll move into our next layer, our final layers, which should be layers 6, 7, and 8. Moving into our final layers here, we have layers 6 through 8. For these layers, to go ahead and get started with here, we're going to place down 2 daylight detectors on top of the middle 2 black stained glass blocks, and we're going to turn those to the night mode like that for the front cockpit. After that's done, go ahead and move into the tail. We're going to place down a light gray stained glass pane on top of this block here, 2 yellow concrete blocks back, and another yellow stained glass pane there. We're going to place down there 2 yellow concrete blocks up, and then a yellow stained glass pane on the back there, followed by a polished andesite block up like so, a light gray stained glass pane toward the front, and an andesite wall there toward the back. And that right there will basically complete our vertical stabilizer, and with that, that'll complete what we have there for layers 6 through 8. And with that, that's going to do it for the in-flight version there for the F-86. At this point in time, we're going to go ahead and now move into the landed version, showing you guys how to put the landing gear on the aircraft for those of you that are wanting to build a landed version. So with that, again, that's it for the in-flight version. Let's move on to the landing gear. Alright guys, moving into our landing gear, we're going to be going ahead and beginning with our first front wheel. For this section, we're going to go and drop down to this area right here. We're going to go and delete this piston right here. And in that place, we're going to go and place down a direct wall that's going to drop down like so. We can then go down from the direct wall with a birchwood fence gate. That's going to be open toward the back of the aircraft. And then below that birchwood fence gate, we're going to place down a block of coal. On both sides of this fence gate, we're going to place down a skeleton skull. And then coming off the fence gate, we're going to place down a polished andesite upside down stair like that going forward. At this point in time, we're also going to go ahead and take our debug stick, and by right-clicking that piston right there, we'll reset it back to where it was originally. And the last thing we have here is the placing of these light gray banners. Now this light gray banner, I'm not going to show you guys how I'm making a loom because it's pretty simple. It's basically just a light gray banner. We have a black border and a black horizontal line for the center. Really simple to do, and this right here is just going to go on both sides of this block of coal like so. And that'll basically create a front wheel. With that, let's go ahead and move on to our back wheels. And going ahead and moving to the back wheels, we're going to go ahead and start off by going ahead and dropping down to this section right here. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and go to this iron trapdoor right here. So it's going to be this kind of third row over, and this second from last iron trapdoor. We're going to place down, or we're going to delete that iron trapdoor into place. We're going to place down a andesite wall, like so. We then want to go ahead and go over from the andesite wall down an angle. We're going to place down a polished black stone wall, like so, and then a second wall going back. We're going to delete the 2 iron trapdoors above those polished black stone walls, and then on top of those walls there, we're going to place down wither skeleton skulls, like this, straight on. And then below this andesite wall, connecting to this polished andesite, or this polished blackstone wall, we're going to place down a skeleton skull like that for that wheel. However, we're not quite done yet. We're going to be going ahead and now going down into this section right here. We want to go ahead and go to these iron trapdoors. Using a debug stick, we're going to go ahead and go to the iron trapdoors right next to the middle here. And we're going to go ahead and set these to open by going ahead and left clicking the iron trapdoor until we get selected open. Should say false. By right clicking it with our debug stick, it'll open them like so. If you're on a different version and you don't have access to the debug stick, you can also use birchwood trapdoors in this situation. Going down from those trapdoors, in the middle here, we're going to place down 2 random blocks. Doesn't have to be anything specific. And coming off those blocks, we're going to place down skeleton skulls. Obviously, the same thing will be done over here on this side for your landing gear. Just make sure that your iron trapdoors are facing the right direction, like that. And those basically be the doors there that open up to allow the landing gear to come out. And obviously the landing gear here will be copied over to the air side there, and that will pretty much complete the landed version for the F-86 Sabre. With that though, that's going to wrap up my tutorial here for the F-86 Sabre redesign. Hope you guys do enjoy this aircraft and are able to put it to good use. If you do abuse this build, I do ask you guys give me proper credit for it. This has been thank you for my son the build, link to my channel or this video if this does appear in social media sites. As long as you guys give me proper credit for it, you're free to use it for projects you guys are working on. Overall, enjoy the build, have fun with it, and all that fun stuff. Again, big special thanks to Patreon supporter Moss for making this tutorial possible, and as always, feel free to check out my Patreon page. Link is always in my video descriptions. With that though, thank you guys again so much for watching. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. This has been Gary204, and I'll see you guys next time.